50 grand. $50,000. Imagine staring at that exact number on a spreadsheet late one Tuesday night and just feeling your stomach completely drop to the floor. It's rough, right? And the thing is, it's usually not just one massive mistake that gets us there. It's dozens of tiny, almost invisible ones stacked up over the years until the number is just impossible to ignore. Whether we're talking maxed out credit cards, a massive personal loan, a crazy car payment, or student debt, the weight is just incredibly heavy. But what if I told you that in exactly 2 years, just 24 months, every single dollar of that could be gone? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're totally stripping away the emotion and replacing it with a cold, hard mathematical playbook to completely eliminate your debt load. Think of this as your highly structured, step-by-step blueprint to zeroing out that balance. And honestly, the best part? The source material we're analyzing today absolutely proves that you can achieve this in exactly 2 years without needing some crazy six-figure salary. No way. Whether you owe 5 grand or 50 grand, the method we're going to look at remains exactly the same. Okay, let's just dive right into this. We're going to move through 5 distinct phases today: the complete debt audit, avalanche versus snowball mathematics, auditing subscriptions and capital, automating your payoff system, and finally, visualizing your path forward. All right, let's kick things off with phase 1, the complete debt audit. Now, this first step sounds incredibly obvious, but trust me, it's actually the hardest part, diagnosing the reality of the math instead of, just avoiding it.
Look, most people have this vague, blurry idea of what they owe, but they actively avoid looking at the full balance because it's literally paralyzing. But here's the thing. That avoidance is costing you real money every single month. You absolutely must map out every single debt you have on one page. You're going to create a simple grid: creditor, total balance, exact interest rate, and the minimum payment. Seeing all of this mapped out at once? Yeah, it's going to be super uncomfortable. Do it anyway, because clarity, even when it's painful, is the absolute foundation of this entire system.
So to make this super concrete, here's your phase 1 checklist. 1. Open every single statement. Yep, all of them. 2. List all your creditors. 3. Log those interest rates. And 4. Log the minimum payments. You simply cannot build a targeted payoff plan around numbers you're pretending don't exist. Once you total the whole shebang up, just take a deep breath. Because right now, for the first time, you are actually in control.
Okay, moving right along into our strategy phase, avalanche versus snowball mathematics. You've got the numbers sitting right there in front of you. Now we need to figure out exactly how to attack them. So there are 2 proven debt payoff methods out there, and you need to pick just one and completely commit to it. First, we have the debt snowball. This one targets your smallest balance first, totally ignoring the interest rate. Once that little debt is gone, you roll that payment into the next smallest one. It's built entirely for a quick, feel-good psychological wins. On the flip side, we have the debt avalanche, which ruthlessly attacks the highest interest rate first. If your goal is to save the absolute maximum amount of money overall, this is the mathematically optimal choice. But listen, regardless of the method you choose, it only works if you pay more than the minimum. Those minimum payments are literally designed by creditors to keep you trapped in debt for as long as humanly possible.
There is a massive, stark contrast in the math when you compare the total interest paid over time. If you have a credit card sitting at a staggering 26% interest rate every single month you aren't aggressively attacking it, it's practically eating you alive. Prioritizing that 26% card, which is the avalanche method, drastically reduces the overall interest you're going to pay compared to knocking out a lower interest card first. The avalanche method mathematically saves you the absolute most money, hands down.
Let's lock in your strategy with the phase 2 checklist. Step 1. Pick your method. So snowball for the motivation or avalanche for the optimal math. Step 2. Pay the strict minimums on everything else. And Step 3. Throw every single dollar of extra cash you have at your chosen target debt. Basically, pick your lane and rigidly commit to it.
That brings us to phase 3, auditing subscriptions and capital. This is the operational side of things. People usually know what they're supposed to do, but they just can't figure out where the actual capital is going to come from to execute the strategy faster.
Here's a tough truth. You have to temporarily pause investing above your employer match. I know, this can be super controversial in personal finance circles. But look at the math. Paying 24% interest on your debt is a mathematically guaranteed loss. Trying to offset that massive leak by earning a historical 10% potential gain in the stock market, it just doesn't compute. You're bleeding out way faster than you can build wealth. You absolutely must clear that high-interest debt first.
Next up, you need to audit your life. The source material highlights something pretty wild.
By doing a ruthless audit of forgotten subscriptions, those random streaming services or apps people genuinely forgot they were even paying for, they easily freed up an extra $180 a month in capital. And this wasn't by canceling everything they loved. They just cut the ghost expenses.
So, here is your Phase 3 checklist to go find that money. First, audit all your subscriptions today. Second, pause your investing above the employer match. And finally, look for ways to generate just $200 to $300 in extra income per month. Maybe pick up an extra shift or do a quick freelance project. Finding even a small amount like $200 to $300 extra a month, that cuts literal years off your timeline and saves you thousands in interest. Please, don't wait for some magical windfall. Start with the small amounts you can easily find today.
All right, let's shift gears into our fourth section, automating your payoff system. This is our second operational phase, and it's entirely about completely removing human willpower from the equation. Because let's be real, willpower eventually runs out.
Before we automate those payments, though, we need to optimize the terms. There's an exact 5-minute script that every single one of you should use on the phone with your creditors today. Just call them up and ask, is there any way to lower my interest rate? It sounds almost too simple, but if you have a solid history of on-time payments, this actually works far more often than people realize.
And this strategy builds some serious momentum. Check this out. If you have a $10,000 balance, dropping your rate from 24% down to 19% with just one 5-minute phone call saves you hundreds of dollars in the first year alone. That is real money going directly to your principal balance instead of padding the bank's profit margin. Seriously, just make the call.
Now your Phase 4 checklist ensures the whole system basically runs itself. 1. Set up automatic payday transfers. You want a fixed amount going directly to your highest interest debt before you even see it hit your checking account or have the chance to spend it. 2. Call those creditors and ask for lower rates. 3. Treat this extra debt payment exactly like a fixed bill. Because, honestly, it is.
And just like that, we've reached our final maintenance phase, visualizing your path forward. 2 years is a really long time to stay focused. There are going to be months where it feels like absolutely nothing is working, so we really need to talk about the psychology of surviving this journey.
Using a visual tool like a debt payoff thermometer might sound, maybe a bit childish at first, but printing out a simple bar chart and physically coloring it in as your balance drops is incredibly powerful. As you visually see that line rising closer and closer to the top, it literally rewires how your brain experiences the journey. It gives you these little bursts of dopamine, those hits you absolutely need to sustain your motivation over a 24-month slog. You also really have to flip how you track your data. For instance, by month 6, looking at a $42,000 remaining balance out of 50 might feel totally defeating. But if you change your focus to the fact that you've successfully paid back $8,000 in just 6 months, wow, that framing makes a huge difference. Stop tracking the debt by what you still owe and start tracking it by the hard capital you've already paid back. Celebrate those milestones. They are solid proof that your system is actually working. So here is your final Phase 5 checklist. Print out a visual debt thermometer right away today. Track the capital you've paid back instead of obsessing over the remaining balance. And crucially, adjust the plan when unexpected expenses pop up. Because life happens, right? You might fall behind 1 month, and guess what? That's not a failure. Progress is literally never perfectly linear. You just adjust a spreadsheet, shake it off, and keep going. $50,000 paid off in 2 years isn't magic. It's a spreadsheet, it's a clearly defined method, it's a few uncomfortable phone calls, and it's 24 months of really focused discipline. So I'm going to leave you with this final absolutely critical question. Will you write down every single debt you have right now before you even close this explainer? Because doing that one simple action puts you miles ahead of the majority of people who are just choosing to look away. Start today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.